Yeah, I'm gonna start now. So, a lot might think people who were there, people who were here for the Pongal celebration and when we had our ethnic mayor out and we had the debate, people might think that I'm like still stuck like a sore loser because verdict was here and there and I want to continue it from the debate. But you know what? This is not a continuation. This is actually something that I've been learning in the last maybe couple of months. Right. So just like everybody else, I am a victim of over social. No, I am guilty of overusing social media, and I believe that social media gets a bad name for these four broad reasons. Like I said, it is addictive, and a lot of the social media applications, a lot of platforms are designed. The formats are designed to keep us scrolling all the time. And number two is that social media gives you an opportunity to create a false sense of reality. Like a lot of many that in fact that I've come across services that gets you pictures from different concerts, events, the best nightclubs in the city for you to post for a price. So you can post it like you're enjoying every single night at some party or at some event while actually sitting at home, just binge watching content, Just so when you look at a lot of social media content today, it kind of blurs the line between what's real and what's actually fabricated. In fact, a lot of my friends, they go on a long trip and then they actually deliberately store the images, schedule it for different days so that at one end they look like they're always traveling, they're at a different place at a different time every day. And of course, as many of us are aware, social media is a really fast way to put out a message, be it for good, be it a good message or a bad message. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, and since information spreads really fast in social media, it's hard to tackle these wrong beliefs or rumors or whatever with the actual truth because it spreads very quickly. So and of course, today followers and likes and social media engagement has become a currency for bragging rights. Basically, like say I have like 20,000 followers on social media, but are they actual connections? Because I could simply go and get bots to subscribe to my channel or pay people to just hit the subscribe button, but is it a real connection? Are they real supporters? Under all these broad umbrellas, under all these broad terms, there are other small things like, for example, I got scammed, or I thought this was right for my health, but and I started eating this particular type of food. For example, there is this Japanese variety of rice called the miracle rice. People say it has like it's really low on calories and it can be consumed as an alternative for rice, but the truth is it it is not even rice. It's based off a plant. It is known or really infamous to cause severe bloating and digestive issues, and a lot of dietitians recommend it like once or twice a week in really small portions, like a filler food. So misinformation, or I'm always glued to my phone. I'm always stuck in social media, and I see someone buying all the best cars in the world, and I am still taking the bus to work. So, you know, all these things, right, would give social media a bad rep. So this might lead us to one conclusion. Maybe I should stop using social media. But the whole point of this session is to encourage you to use social media more. Yes, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be glued to your phone as long as you have some sort of purpose. Now, this line is not to be taken literally, but the whole point is to have a purpose while you're using social media. And of course, it's okay to get entertained, right? I would just pull out my phone just to laugh at some memes. People who sit next to me could actually find me laughing at some random memes really randomly at times of the day, because that's how I work, right? I need, like, when I'm constantly writing or when I'm thinking, I would need that sort of a break. So in that sense, sometimes it's okay to use it to get entertained. But there is a lot more that you can do with social media, and I just thought I could take through a few strategies that I've picked up and a few strategies that have worked out for me personally. Because again, I don't want to be like some sort of a, let's say, guru of sorts, like that fake online guru saying, hey, you can do this, and you can, like, to motivate you with some sort of a false hope, because these are things that I've tried and I believe in. So the first one, I use some fancy words, but the simple thing is to actually connect, right? So generally, what we do is we go on social media where our friends are in. So let's say all my friends are in LinkedIn. I mean, all my friends are in Instagram, and they're all sharing memes, and it's that's how most of us start social media. Or for for someone as old as my mom, she joined Facebook just because her sisters and her cousins are, and from there she gets a lot of content. And since Instagram also pushes its reels on Facebook, they also consume a lot of content. But social media, I mean, when it comes to choosing the social media platform, you actually have options. For example, recently I shifted from Instagram to Reddit, because in Reddit find the option to actually filter, right? Choose a subreddit or choose a community and actually look at different things that might interest you. Like, for example, I like sneakers, and recently I found a few communities that actually help you build your own sneakers. And apparently there are brands that simply send you boxes of materials to help you build your own sneakers as you like. And of course, I've shifted to a lot of LinkedIn because that's where I pick up a lot of content, inspiration, career inspiration. I speak to a lot of people. I connect with a lot of people in my industry, in industries that I have admired or I have been curious about. And recently, I've also I've also joined a few Discord servers where we talk about basketball and basketball statistics. I've joined a Discord server where, we discuss about simple things like writing narratives for video games. So this one question that every time, like that led me to choose this is, I mean, choose a platform for myself, is this simple question, which goes like, okay, now I've used this app for a good amount of time now. Do I feel inspired? Did I take away something, or did I at least get some sort of a motivation, or do I just feel empty and maybe even feeling worse than I felt before? So that happened to me on Instagram. Of course, I still use Instagram, but my attention has diversified to different other social media platforms that help me actually learn something, right? I've also, like, unsubscribed to a lot of YouTube channels that really didn't do a lot to me. Unfollowed a lot of Instagram channels that did nothing to me, and I'm still unfollowing because, I had followed about 7,500 pages on Instagram, and my feed was just empty, right? It didn't really give me anything, and I thought, okay, maybe I could change that, and I started filtering things out. So this is strategy number one. Find where like-minded people are. There are endless number of social media platforms. There is something called Fishbowl, where people just talk about careers and growth and referrals and all of that. And that really helped when I was looking for a job a couple of months ago. So for people who don't know, I was laid off just a month, or I mean 1.5 months before my wedding, and I, you know, since I was really, like, making a big shift in my life, I was really desperate for a job. So Fishbowl and LinkedIn and a little bit of Reddit and YouTube really helped me with my job search. In fact, I found like about 8 to 10 great interviews just from LinkedIn connections. Unfortunately, some work, some don't work, but getting interviews is a real hard thing, right? If for people who've been in the job market recently, they might know. So this is strategy number one. Find where your people are. Number two is something that I would encourage people to do a lot more, right? It doesn't have to be like, I would really encourage a person to create on social media. And of course, since social media is vast, I would say it would still be okay for someone not who would like to be private, or who would not like to put out their thoughts in public, or who are like, who feel like, okay, you know what, I don't think anybody would read my stuff, or anybody would look at my art, or whatever it is. One thing that I have found out, and I it helped me in the past, off late I've lost that habit, but during COVID I started creating. I started going on random live sessions. I created a couple of short films on YouTube. Most of them I would just be acting, and some of them in one of them, I just recorded myself dancing randomly, and people who know me know that I can't dance even if it's going to save my life. I can't dance for anything. I don't have the moves. I'm not smooth. But for the script and for the story that I had in mind, I had to shoot. And since it was the lockdown, I couldn't get anybody else to act in front of the camera. So I would encourage a lot of people to create. And why? Why am I so going so pro creator? Become creative. The simple reason is it helps you understand a lot more about your thoughts, right? If you're unfiltered, right? A very simple thing that I'd like everybody to try is the next time you have a thought, right? The next time you have anything in your mind, be it something like, hey, you know what, I'm feeling hungry, I'm gonna make this particular dish at home, or you know what, I'm hungry, I feel bored, I'm gonna go out there. Any thought that you guys have, put it in paper, just write it. Or just it does not have to be like perfect words. It could just be something like a mind map of sorts, where you just connect words, you just write words, put the words out it. And once you do that and once you look at it at the first glance, it gives you a slightly different perspective. It helps you clear your mind for a different thought. Right now, this is the first step. Now let's say you've done this for a couple of times. Now whenever you've had thoughts, when you compile all of this together and look at it like from a higher level, you would actually have something where you'll actually start noticing patterns about your thoughts, and maybe understand your likes and dislikes a little bit more. Because the true you can only be happy and you can only be content in life only when you have a clear understanding of who you are, right? For years now, I've been in this slump where I didn't really know what I liked, and my likes and dislikes, my preferences. Sometimes I won't even have a preference when I'm going out to eat. Like, let's say I'm going out in a group, right? I won't even have like a selection in the menu, because okay, this person is ordering this, maybe I'll just order the same thing, whatever the next guy is having. So in that sense, even after the meal, I would never be content, right? I would never be happy, because it's not something that I really, really wanted from deep down. When when you're creating content, right? Eventually, even if you use GPT, or even if you use Claude or whatever AI tool to generate whatever you consume, eventually it goes to a point where you start becoming authentic. First, it might look a little superficial because you're really conscious about what you're writing or what you're creating or the artwork or whatever it is. But maybe down the line, when you keep repeating what you do, you'll have that confidence to actually put out your exact thought onto paper or onto the screen or whatever on whatever platform that you're creating. So this way, authentic you actually find your most authentic selves. This could help you understand your style or your thought process, the type of people that you'd like to connect with, the type of people that would like to connect with you. Right. So in this sense, I would actually really encourage people to start creating. A lot of social media platforms like IMGUR, so I think it's short for image URLs, or even Behance or Instagram or Medium. A lot of platforms have the ability to just record your messages and not really publish it to anybody. Just keep it private. So in case you want to share it with somebody, or in case you want to just look back at it, you can simply create. And one might have the question, right? Hey, I could do this with a diary, or I could do this with, I could do this with, something like MS Word or whatever, right? Notepad, or I could simply just draw in my scrapbook or whatever. Here's where here's where social media brings in another layer that really helps us to stay consistent. So if you're going to start posting on social media, and I'm talking about not keeping it private but public, right? If you're really going to post it out to a small public audience, right? You would definitely want to keep up a cadence. You would definitely want to be repetitive. So this you want to keep up timelines. You will have some sort of a structure in mind, right? If you're actually like a little more serious about creating, you'll have a structure in mind, and this would really help you bring in the consistency. Because for people who write, they have this thing called a writer's block, and the only thing that puts you out of the writer's block is actual structure. Now, let's say I have to submit a blog by 1 p.m. today. I have to submit it. So I can't sit around thinking, hey, I don't get any ideas in my mind. I would actually start writing with whatever I have in my mind. And I kid you not, this has definitely worked out for so many, for so many instances in my life. The stuff that I create now is just as good as any other content that I create where I have the motivation, where I have all the ideas ready. It's just flowing. Right, it's just in your mind. The block is just in your mind. You have all the pieces to create that content, but at some part, somewhere, your mind is hesitant because of some external reason. So I would really love to see a lot more people, creating on social media and keeping it private. If they are, if they are like a little hesitant, they could keep it private, but create on social media is something that I would encourage. Ha. Number three. So um we found our tribe so far. That is, we found our platforms so far, and we found our interest so far when we create, when we write, whatever. This would really change the game for a lot of you if you figure out how to. So this is going to be a small anecdote from my life. About 5 years ago, in 20, no, about almost about 6 to 7 years ago, back in 2018, sometime I was still in college. I was in my final year. I just took up a sales internship at Byju's, right? But there was this point where I wanted to discontinue engineering. I didn't like engineering. I knew I wasn't going to become an engineer, like many other engineers in India today. But the only stuff that I knew back then was I knew how to handle a camera because I have a photographer friend. I knew how to edit, and of course, I knew how to design. All this came from me trying to bunk classes and join some sort of an activity or the other. So I was in media teams. I was in you know cultural coordination team. Of course, I also was a musician. So I was practicing regularly. So I was also part of the band. So every time there's an event, I would have an OD. I would be on duty. I would be sitting somewhere creating posters or writing copy or going out to colleges to give out invitations. So all this helped me build a skill set. And 2018, 2019, I actually decided, okay, you know what, cinema is where I'm gonna go because I like all this. But I did join a small production with uh, the actor Udaynidhi Stalin. For the actor Udaynidhi Stalin, I was the first AD in this project. We had all the story ready, our one-liners clicked, we were writing screenplays. It was really busy for the first 5 days. But unfortunately, in the sixth day, the project was dropped because of some internal issue. I should have been devastated. But you know what? I was really relieved because the 5 days, right, even though I did something that I was really good at, I wasn't really struggling. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I didn't like it at all. But I didn't know anything else. And I just took the next video editing job. Again, pretty lucrative gig. It didn't pay me a lot of money, but I was still working we were producing a show entirely for Sun Life. I was editing. There could be some stuff on YouTube. I'm happy that, I've done something for the public that actually is in record today. But one day, right, I was just scrolling through Facebook. Facebook was popular back then. I was scrolling through Facebook and I found this term called copywriting. The term is funny for someone who looks at it because copywriting looks like I have to copy from somewhere and write. And I was really intrigued. Hey, is this an actual job? Right? Is this like, do people do this? What is it? Is it like some data formatting, data filling job or something like that? But down the line, it took me down a rabbit hole where I just kept looking and looking and looking. And I thought, okay, maybe this sounds interesting. So I took up the very next interview because I knew I could write. I was writing captions for people and all. So I knew I could do this. I just randomly turned into a job interview from LinkedIn. I went there. I wrote whatever I thought I could write from everything that I learned from YouTube. And guess what? I got the job that day. And that started my content writing journey. And I've done this for the last 5 years. I worked for 14, 15 hours a day. I've been burnt out multiple times in my life. But guess what? I still like doing it. I still like, putting my thoughts into words and trying to, trying to trying to put out a message in the most attractive and enticing way possible. So why am I telling you such a long story? Well, if there is one takeaway that you can take from this story, it's that it's this. You can take away something completely unexpected from social media. Like recently, I've realized I could prepare mead. Mead is a beverage from which you can find in a lot of bars in Europe. It was a very popular drink in medieval Europe, by the way. I can prepare mead with just a few bottles and just a few small ingredients. Uh, and like I said, I realized I could actually make my own sneakers and not look for people to do it for me. So there are so many things, that unexpected things that you can learn from social media only if you do strategies one and two. That is to find communities and things and explore communities and explore platforms where you might actually find things that interest you. And of course, start creating, because when you're creating, you're consistently looking for, you will automatically look for inspiration. You'll be consistent and you'll consume content that would actually help you. So in that sense, I've learned a lot of unexpected things from social media. And here are three things that I did. One, I followed accounts that I found could teach me something. Like, a lot of I learned how to, like, I picked up motion graphics as a really unexpected thing. I didn't even know there was something called motion graphics. I picked it up while I was trying to just find inspiration to edit a music video. I picked up a little bit of personal finance and cooking from random reels that turned up in my Instagram feed. So I would immediately make sure I explore their content and follow so that I'll get their content in my feed. And of course, switch to platforms that could teach you content in the type of duration that you like. So a lot of people today, right, have really like small attention spans, and social media is guilty for it because everything is bite sized. And of course, the human mind can only take in, so much information at a particular time. They call it cognitive overload. So I would say you can, I would prefer people to switch to Instagram and YouTube to actually learn, because you have shorts there, you have bite-sized tutorials, you have episodes there. But if you really prefer longer courses, maybe something like a long certification course, or a podcast, or a longer YouTube video which could go for 3 hours, or there are specific platforms just for upskilling. Like if you want to pick up writing, there's this a blog platform called Copy Blogger that keeps posting stuff that could help you write better. So all these skills that you could pick could actually, it might not help your jobs directly, but you could draw parallels. You could draw it could help you get better at your job in one way or the other, but directly or indirectly, or in other, if even if you think, if you're still convinced that it's not going to help your career, it's still going to boost your confidence, because you know, confidence comes from the understanding that you know a lot of things. If you think about it, I am confident that I can write a blog in a day because I know how to write a blog. I know how to structure it. I know how to speeden things up. I know where to find the right keywords. So this knowledge really builds confidence. So this is something that I actually mentioned in the debate that we had. So I just give you a recap. But that story was slightly cut short, right? So Naval Ravikant, an Indian-born American investor, is the founder of AngelList. AngelList is a platform and an investor for many big companies in the world. He uses social media to share his wisdom, right? And this wisdom was picked by some other guy who followed Naval Ravikant, compiled all his tweets and everything that made sense to him, all everything that brought him some sort of a learning, and he put it into a book. Now, how did it help him? How does it help people? Number one, it helps a lot of people understand a lot about finances, personal growth, and get to actually understand the thought process of a large scale investor, right? Someone who knows business, is someone who speaks to co-founders, someone who knows how to grow something up, right? That, and it also helped this author make a lot of money from all the book sales, because this is one of the top, one of the biggest bestsellers in the world today when it comes to what to say, self-help books and all of that in his genre. So when you're using social media, no matter what you find, right, no matter what platform that you use, try to filter it out to some place where you have a balance of learning and entertainment. Now, I would like to see, reels of our beloved actor Dr. Divakar, because that really helps me, loosen things up and kind of brings confidence to me. But that is not the only thing in my feed today. Like I said, I had followed 7,500 accounts, and most of them were like some sort of meme pages or something that I found funny when I'm scrolling. If I find it funny or if I find it amusing, I would hit the follow button. And I would, so when I'm scrolling through social media, where I'm actually getting myself some that sort of that the entertainment and a little bit of the dopamine that it's gonna give me. I didn't really take away anything. But today, now that I'm filtering my social media feed, filtering the accounts that I follow, or removing, unfollowing certain accounts because I'm not really interested in their content, I'm actually seeing things that really, teaches me something. Like, for example, yesterday, I just realized, not yesterday, a couple of days ago, I just, so I just came across this reel from, what to say, from one of a video editor who would post, tips on how to speed and work up. And every time, like we used to run a channel where we needed subtitles for everything that we spoke. And more than the edit, right? Let's say the edit takes about 2 hours it takes 2 hours to edit the video. The subtitling would take somewhere around 2 to 3 hours, because I had to sync all the words up. I had to transcribe first and then make sure everything syncs and check the sizes, make sure it looks visually pleasing and all of that. But this person posted a small script that I can add to my video editor, DaVinci Resolve, which would transcribe things for me and do everything, and create the subtitles for me with exact synchronization, all for free. Now a lot of softwares have this, but I have to pay for it. I use DaVinci Resolve, which is a free software, but if I pay for a higher version, I can do this. But this is gonna help me do it for free with the help of Whisper by OpenAI, which is another AI agent from the makers of ChatGPT. So this learning would really speed up my process, speed up my workflow tomorrow. One of my biggest blockers to creating these videos was all the time that it took. But now I know that I'm going to take, I could create a video in about 2 hours. So I could edit a video every day. That would give me 5 videos that I could post for like two weeks. So, this gave me the inspiration to actually get back to our older channel. So, just by unfollowing a few accounts, this really clears up your feed. But to actually get the inspiration, you'll have to do all the other strategies. You'll have to look for places where you can actually upskill. Strategies 1, 2, and 3 to actually, make this strategy for work. Number 5, social media is a great place to understand your audience, your customer, your buyers, whoever. Now, this is something that could help all of us, be it someone in social media marketing, of course, directly, or be it someone in more of a in technical teams. Let me put things in perspective, right? Oftentimes, I go to whenever I am writing. Whenever I'm looking for inspiration for videos, oftentimes I would go to a video where, where which has taken, which has a lot of views, which is related to my content. I would go look at the comments. I would see all the questions, all the negative things and everything that they have posted. Because whenever we're looking for content, right, the whole thing is we look at it from our perspective. Now I'm going to talk about how social media is great, but what if all the strategies that I had some sort of, I had put in the document, had some sort of, some sort of a bottleneck or a caveat or a problem that I'm overlooking, right? So this is how I actually started this entire process. So when I was creating content, I had a slightly different approach to it. Like when I was ideating for this entire session, I had different strategies, but I was just looking at videos and I was just looking at older presentations, and one of the comments is, "Hey, this might not work for everybody." So this got me thinking, like, and then there was, while I was thinking for solutions, I saw another comment which said, "You know what? This is more easier said than done." So this changed my thought process a bit. That's why I had mentioned that these weren't something that I picked off from some random Instagram guru or a YouTube guru. I took it from my personal experience, right? And I still do it. I learned this from one of my seniors in Byju's. Now we had nothing to do with social media or anything related to marketing. I was purely creating content for kids. Let's say someone in grades 6 to 10, right? So when I was creating the videos, I had like multiple ideas. We were discovering gravity, and I had something similar to the plot of Mission to Mars in one of my stories. But my senior just looked at the entire script. He said, "It's okay. It's decently written. It could have some works, but will this work? Do you, how sure are you to saying that this will work? Because this might sound interesting to you and to me, but will this actually sound interesting to a kid?" Now I could turn to one of the a future UX research. I could ask for a call with a bunch of students and understand what really interests them. Or I could simply switch to YouTube and search for similar topics, see what really engages people, see what really engages for which type of audience and all of that. That gave me a much better understanding, and I immediately switched to a much simpler script because it was not worth it. It was not worth all the effort. So yeah, this way you understand what could work with the end user, be it when you're writing code or be it when you're implementing a new drop mail, drip marketing campaign where you're segregating into audiences. And just look at social media, just look at other people, what they've done or what people are commenting. This would give you this sort of an insight that could actually make it a little more future proof, make your whatever your effort is more future proof. It would give you an understanding of how your audience behave, and it would give you really valuable insights that could really put your efforts, take your drive your efforts into some place more meaningful. So these are 5 strategies that I thought we could follow, like I thought we could pick up right when we are using social media. But there is still a huge problem in social media called brain rot. Now, can someone tell me, can someone really volunteer to step up and help me understand what brain rot is, or help everybody else understand what brain rot is? What do you know about this term? Anybody?
Something damages to the brain, negatively affecting kind of.
Okay, that is what you can pick up from this term. But brain rot is a little more connected. This specific term called brain rot is a little more connected to social media. Now, brain rot, also known as brain rot with the spaces, is a term used to describe the negative effects on our cognition or our ability to think, right? With excessive use of digital media, with a lot of scrolling, consuming low quality memes, and all of that. So all this could lead to some sort of a mental state where our brain is always foggy, right? We're not able to think clearly. There is some sort of, we're not able to concentrate, we're not able to put our 100%, and sometimes it could even affect our attention span and make us feel tired. A clear example of brain rot is this paragraph itself. I could make an example with this paragraph actually. Now, if I'm going to post this pretty considerably small paragraph into a document, and I'm going to post it on social media, or I'm going to post it at a digital forum, people might not read it entirely. That's how short their attention spans are. Now, one might question, why should they read it, right? Why should they read it? Well, maybe, to tackle this question, we could actually put it in a place of intent. Even if I'm going to put it in a place of under a definition, say what is brain rot, and I'm going to have such a big paragraph, people might not read it because attention span is less. It's way too wordy for people to process. But in actuality, social media has evolved into such a quick content machine, a quick content system, that people don't really have the patience to read through a small paragraph like this. And I'm guilty of it too. I am so addicted. I was addicted. I'm recovering now. I was so addicted to social media. I stopped reading altogether. I was addicted to reels that I stopped watching longer videos, which actually had more content, better quality, and which would actually interest me. But I would still not watch these videos because I saw another smaller video and I wanted to switch there, and I kept scrolling to the next one, to the next one. And then when I get back to this video could be a little more boring. So how, oh shit, there is a small oopsie. So how do you get out of this uh, brain rot phase? Number one, you have to actively audit your feed. Like I had mentioned, unfollow accounts. Just be relentless. This account could have had killer memes, right? Could have had like really great videos that made me laugh out a lot. But if it's gonna make me feel empty, right? If it's really sucking all my time, if content like this is really sucking all my time, you will have to take a stand and unfollow. Number two, have timers. I've picked this up like really, really recently in the last couple of weeks. So I'll always have like some sort of a timer on my watch or on my computer screen or whatever, just to understand and just to restrict myself from getting distracted. A great way to start is the Pomodoro timer, where you work for 25 minutes and rest for 5 minutes. And only in this 5 minutes, I would pick up my phone and I would look at something. Number three, every time you open your app, actively ask yourself, okay, why am I opening this? Because when you stop and when you pause, if you really have a purpose, you would continue. But if you don't, like you would obviously, if you ask this consciously, you would obviously shut the app down. And number four, I would not say not to consume anything in social media, but consume something a little more meaningful. Instead of me listening to some, uh, you know, just switching to switching over like 10 to 15 videos quickly, scrolling to no end. I've actively started switching to a podcast like from Motor Inc. Or from AVTV or from Think School, where I could actually learn something, be it with the craft or be it with the content that they post. So these are four things that I thought we could pick up in our daily social media habits quickly. So, like I said, the bottom line is you don't really have to quit social media because it's inevitable today. I would encourage people, a lot more people, to use social media a little bit more, but use it with purpose and have control over it. Because at the end of the day, you are the user. You are supposed to understand, and you are supposed to control how you're using it, and not an algorithm or an application or a platform. Thank you.